Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 14. The same number as Sam Darnold, best quarterback in Carolina Panthers history. Welcome to episode number 14 of the Weekly Gridiron. As always, we just happen to be your hosts, Adam,
Dante,
and
Luke.
And we have a good episode on our hands today.
Episode number 14, the same amount as Josh Allen fumbles this year.
The same amount of Super Bowls Kenny Pickett's going to win in his career.
As Dante said, it's also the same number as
Sam Howell.
All right, so let's get into it. It also happens to be the last time the Detroit Tigers made the playoffs. But, okay, enough about the number 14. Speaking of the number 4 in that statement, we have 4 teams left competing for a Super Bowl. Should we start right off the bat and predict those games, guys?
Let's do it. I'm down.
All right. We're starting with the NFC Championship game, the 49ers and the Eagles. By far, the two best teams in the NFC. Both very even on paper. I mean, this might be the two best rosters in the entire National Football League.
Yeah.
Like, what team could even be better? But we're going to put Luke on the spot. And we're going to let him make his pick first.
I am going to... Actually, if you've seen the bracket that I made a couple weeks ago, I'm going to maintain both of my early selections. I'm going to pick the San Francisco 49ers. This is going to be a really good game. It's just because, funny I say this with the Niners starting Brock Purdy, but it's just because I think the Eagles are still a little too inexperienced. This is the farthest A.J. Brown has ever gotten into the playoffs. This is Jalen Hurts' 4th playoff game, I want to say. Because he got beaten by Tom Brady last year, or the year before, I forget. Yeah, I just think the Niners were impressive last week. They didn't crush the Cowboys or anything, but the Niners probably have the best defense in the league, and the Cowboys probably have the second best defense in the league. Both defenses are that good. They scored 19 points against the Cowboys defense, and what I was especially impressed with was how their defense played against Dallas, who just put up 5 touchdowns against the Buccaneers. I think that as long as their defense can hold up, and I think it will, I think Philly's defense is not quite as good as Dallas, and for that reason I think that they're going to have just a little bit of an easier time on offense, and if the 49ers get rolling, they're going to be hard to stop.
I'll go next. I personally think if we're going to compare, defenses and stuff like that, I think we got to compare offenses too and look at how much better the Eagles' offense is better than the 49ers, and that's the reason I'm going to ride with the Eagles this week. I personally think the Eagles have been the best team in the league all season. Maybe the best team in the league all season. You could argue the Chiefs. You could even argue the 49ers down the stretch, winning a large string of games, but isn't it like their franchise record?
I think they're on to either 11 or 12 in a row.
Yeah, which is very impressive. But the Eagles they also went on a good win streak this year. They're playing at home. I have more faith in Jalen Hurts than I do in Brock Purdy. I'm really not on the Brock Purdy train yet. I think he's a result of all of his weapons. But once again, if you put me back there with all those weapons, I probably wouldn't succeed. So he definitely has some talent there. But the Eagles I believe they're a far more I don't want to say consistent. I just have way more confidence picking the Eagles here, especially at home. Yeah, I'm going with the Eagles.
You know what, I was thinking about what you said, that the Eagles' offense is so much better. My original reaction to that was, I'm not sure that's completely true, but then I thought about it, and I would probably take A.J. Brown over Deebo Samuel.
Maybe not. They're very even. I was actually referencing the Eagles' offense compared to the Cowboys' offense.
Oh, okay.
Not so much the Niners, but, Yeah.
In that case, I would absolutely agree with you. But then just it begs the question, for a second, let me look at this. I would take A.J. Brown over Deebo Samuel, Jalen Hurts over Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey over the Eagles' rushing attack, although the Eagles' rushing attack is extremely consistent.
And then Kittle over Goddard, I assume.
I would take Kittle over Goddard, but Goddard is still definitely... He's a really good weapon. And that's no disrespect to him.
2 great offensive lines, though.
That is true as well, yeah.
Like 2 top 5 offensive lines, with remind me of that, like the 49ers' absolute star on their offensive line. What's his name?
Is it Trent Williams?
Trent Williams, yes. But you got to look at the Eagles, too. Jason Kelsey. I believe Lane Johnson is still on that line, if I'm not mistaken. Is Lane Johnson still on that line?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Eagles line very good. 49ers line very good.
So is Jason Kelsey too.
Yeah, Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson, and Jordan Mailata, also a beast. So they're gonna definitely have to go to the air because I feel like both teams' run game is really not going to get going that much.
Would you go as far as to say that the team that runs the ball better will win?
I probably will say that. And if we're looking at better running backs, it's probably Christian McCaffrey. However, playing at home,
probably.
Definitely.
He's the best out of.
I'm just kidding.
He's the best out of the field of running backs, but the Eagles, they know how to run.
Yeah, Eagles know how to run.
They know how to run.
And I believe the Eagles have the better O-line. And Miles Sanders has been pretty solid this year, along with Boston Scott in the playoffs, and along with Kenny Gainwell.
And home field advantage.
So that's the reason I'm going with the Eagles here. I'm not 100% confident in that pick, and I doubt Luke is 100% confident in his 49ers pick.
I'm sure not.
This is a really good game. I believe these are the four best teams remaining. You know?
I completely agree with you. So we'll send the tiebreaker over to Adam.
All right. So think about all you guys said. I love both these teams.
Likewise.
I love the 49ers, obviously. I mean, they got Purdy. They got CMC, one of my favorite players. Debo, Kittle, all those guys. I mean, how could you hate the Niners? I like the Eagles a lot, being a Phillies fan. I know we're mainly from Pittsburgh, but some of that Phillies fan bias. I know a lot of people who are Eagles fans that also like the Phillies, so I kind of side with them sometimes.
Do you like the Sixers?
I don't mind the Sixers. The only Philly team I strongly dislike is the Flyers.
Felt that.
Anybody else. But, yeah, I mean, I don't really have a problem with either team in this matchup. However, you guys know that my prediction to win the Super Bowl has been the 49ers. I want Christian McCaffrey to get that ring, so I am going to rock with San Francisco. Although, like you guys said, you're not 100% confident in your picks. I'm not confident in mine. This game could really go either way. And Philly having home field advantage can really help them win this game. But, I mean, the Niners have been great all season. This is by far going to be their toughest test all year, just like this is by far going to be Philly's toughest test all year to this point. So I'm going to roll with the Niners. I'm just going with my gut here. But, yeah, give me San Francisco.
Yeah, I think it would be wrong for anybody to be extremely confident about any of these picks because these are really four even-matched teams. You put any of these teams against any of the other ones, and it's going to be a good game.
I'm not counting out any of these teams to win the Super Bowl.
Neither am I.
Any of these teams
Absolutely
to go the distance,
And might I say that I'm extremely satisfied with the four teams remaining.
Me too.
Because if any of them won the Super Bowl, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
I don't dislike a single player or a single team left in the field.
For me, it's different, you know that. But
oh, yeah, okay, Bengals. But
yeah. However,
understandably. So let's jump to that.
All right. You want me to go first? With this?
Yeah, why don't you go first?
All right, let's go with the AFC Championship now. And I think my decision really came down to the divisional round performances from both of these teams. As you know, last week I was a heavy Bills guy. I picked them to pretty much win this game comfortably. I did not give the Bengals a chance, but I'll admit when I was wrong. I'm not going to act like I saw this coming. I'm not going to act like I knew all along. I did not know. I had great confidence in the Bills, but the Bengals proved me wrong, and they really earned my respect this past week. And the Chiefs kind of lost some respect for them. However, it did come down to that Mahomes injury, and that may be part of the reason they only won by a touchdown. But come on, still giving up 20 points to the Jags at Arrowhead? The Bengals dominated on the road, really didn't give up any points. Offense
in bad weather.
In bad weather, clicked on all cylinders, offense, defense, special teams. And that's the reason I'm going with the Bengals here. I think they're going to come out. They've owned the Chiefs this past season and last season, beat them in the AFC Championship again. Well, beat them, not again. They're meeting in the AFC Championship again. Beat them in it last year. They're 3-0 in their last three meetings. I think this is a no-brainer. Give me the Bengals.
All right. Interesting. Yeah, and I'll put it out there that even though I'll pat myself on the back a little bit, I was pretty spot on with the AFC divisional round Bills Bengals prediction, but I'm not going to act like some profound intellectual. That was certainly partly fueled by just some bias against the Bills. I certainly thought they had more of a chance than what they showed in that game, but I certainly enjoyed myself
Yeah.
when they went down.
Yeah.
Anybody who knows me personally or follows me on Twitter will know that I certainly enjoyed myself, and that my birthday was the day after, so it was the best early birthday present I've had in a while, seeing the Bills just fall flat on their face like that.
And shout out to Eli Apple.
Shout out to Eli Apple. That man, he's the only man on the planet that retweeted more Bills slander than I did.
Yeah, Dante, did you check that man's Twitter?
No, I did not.
You have to take a look.
Pages
Oh my
upon
gosh.
pages of Bills memes.
Really?
It's so hilariously disrespectful.
It's incredible.
You guys can keep talking. I'm
Yeah,
gonna take a look at this.
I literally, like, you'll be scrolling for minutes. It's really funny, actually. So while they're scrolling through Eli Apple's Twitter, I'll make my prediction for this AFC Championship game. And I've been stalling a little bit, as you might have noticed, because I'm not really sure. I must say, if Patrick Mahomes was 100% healthy, which he's absolutely not, they're giggling over there. Patrick Mahomes is not 100%
Wow, this is really
healthy.
bad.
It's
Burrow
so
head.
bad. It's
Wow.
it's so bad. It's hilarious though.
Get those lights off. That's
Get those
funny.
lights off.
That's a good one. I like
Stephon
that.
Diggs on a big stage.
All right, I'm gonna look at those. Look at those later.
We'll
'cause
just look at those later.
Yeah.
If Mahomes was 100% healthy, this would be an easy, not an easy pick for me, but I would pick the Chiefs.
Likewise.
However, even though the Chiefs are my Super Bowl pick, or they were up until this point, I'm going to go. My heart says, Luke, don't switch up. You need to keep your Super Bowl pick. They've been your Super Bowl pick since the preseason.
Hey man, things happen.
I know.
Things happen.
Imagine if you kept it the entire year and you ended up being right. And I may have been right all along, but I'm picking the Cincinnati Bengals.
Let's go.
Mahomes is on a high ankle sprain, and that's not something that can just be casually played through. If this was the regular season, he'd miss at least one game.
Yeah.
There are guys that they miss multiple weeks off a high ankle sprain. I knew somebody in high school, a basketball player, that had a high ankle sprain, and I'm sure there's different severities, but he was in a boot. He was in a walking boot for over a month and a half. I mean,
do that.
He's gonna play through it, and I'm sure the severity of it isn't that bad. They wouldn't tell us if it was, and he's not gonna sit no matter what. Even though I might say it was impressive, that Chad Henne led a 98-yard touchdown drive. That really does say a lot about that offense and how Andy Reid is such a genius that he can just plug in different people and make it work.
But man, the Bengals defense is good.
The Bengals defense is playing as good as any defense in the league. Joe Burrow, I'm not really sure what it is, but he has something over Mahomes right now.
He's his kryptonite, dude. I mean, it seems
he
like
sure is.
Nobody else but Joe Burrow could beat Mahomes.
That's sure what it seems like, and I don't think the Chiefs have as great of a rushing attack as, say, the Ravens did, who gave the Bengals kind of a hard time. So,
but when it came down to it, they really shut it down
and they did when it mattered, and it sure looked like they could protect against a passing attack last week, even in bad weather, which they won't see, especially in home games. Which I don't know if you watched that game, but constantly ringing loud through the TV were "Who Dey" chants in Buffalo. Bengals proud showed up. It was unbelievable. That it just felt like a Bengals home game watching from home.
Yeah.
So,
Because we have NFL news. Due to Tony Pollard's injury, the replacement for him at the Pro Bowl in Las Vegas will be Dalvin Cook.
Nice.
Did
Najee make it?
I'm not sure.
Bruh. I don't think he did.
I unfortunately don't think so. Neither did Ramondre Stevenson.
How did TJ Watt?
Neither did JC.
I
Horn.
really don't know.
I love
no
TJ
no
Watt.
disrespect.
No, I love TJ Watt. Guy played
He
4
just
games.
didn't play enough games this year.
Did Highsmith make it? That's
No.
blasphemy that Highsmith
No,
didn't make
neither
it.
did Judon. We can both
Bruh.
sit in silence.
Yeah,
With
who cares?
with all that being said, I'm picking the Cincinnati Bengals.
Nice.
Okay. So wait, Dante, did you pick Cincinnati?
I picked the Bengals also.
And I picked Cincinnati.
Interesting. So I've thought about it all with this matchup. It's kind of like the 49ers and Eagles, the two best teams undisputedly, in my opinion, left in the AFC. We could have had the Bills and the Chiefs and have said it's the two number 2s and the two number 1s from each side, seeding-wise. But I truly believe, and you've heard me say, that the Bengals are a better team than the Bills, and now on each side we get the two best teams remaining. The Bengals have had a long road this season. They started off struggling, but then really caught fire and just took it with them into this playoff run. They have a chance to go back to the Super Bowl the same way they did last year by taking out the best quarterback in the league, Patrick Mahomes, who is injured.
And who can we now establish is the best quarterback in the league?
Yeah.
Oh, Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I thought that was common knowledge.
Yeah, good.
Mm-hmm. Well, even though it's in Kansas City, and I know Mahomes is hurt, but I fully believe Mahomes could still be great even though he is hurt. There's one specific thing I am taking in this matchup. I don't know if they've faced each other 3 or 4 times. I can't remember. It's been at least 3. Patrick Mahomes' record against Joe Burrow is 0-3 in those 3 games.
Oh, man.
The Bengals have the extreme edge with the history aspect in this game. And until I am proven that it will change, I'm going to ride with Cincinnati. I cannot believe we are clean sweeping against the Kansas City Chiefs, but here we are.
Might I just say, if Patrick Mahomes was not hurt, I would be picking the Chiefs. He's a magician, and he makes something out of nothing in every single play that breaks down. But with the inability to escape the pocket and efficiently run on both ankles, that's going to become so much harder. It's going to make those little flip passes he does tougher. He's not going to be able to make something out of nothing every single play like he does. So, and with that taken away, without Tyreek Hill, it's going to be a lot of passing over the middle to Travis Kelce and jet sweeps and some trickery for sure, but not as much as that you can usually do. Like you said, it's crazy that we're clean sweeping the Chiefs out of here, but I'd be picking them if Patrick Mahomes was healthy. I just can't right now.
Yeah.
All right. So our picks are made. Do we want to just recap the divisional round now, guys?
Sure.
So why don't we just kind of give our thoughts on each game here? I got to pull up the schedule. Kind of go over it again. So, we had Jaguars and Chiefs. So this game kind of surprised me a little bit, especially. I mean, I thought Jacksonville was going to make this close, but I honestly thought Kansas City could have ran away with it. I think it's more of a surprising aspect that Kansas City has a security blanket, no matter if Mahomes is hurt or not, and that's Chad Henne came up huge in many moments in that game, and just helped Kansas City win.
Hey, anything is possible.
That's very, very true. Trevor Lawrence played pretty good as well. For the Jaguars, though, I don't think you should really hang your head low from this. You went 9-8, won your division, went to the divisional round, a season after having back-to-back first-round picks. In the past 2 years, I think. Yeah, in the past 2 seasons, you've had 3 different head coaches. It's just, I mean, it's incredible to see how well
they have a bright future.
They definitely have a bright future. But kind of moving on to another game here, Giants-Eagles. I'm going to say this. I was surprised with this. Not because the Eagles won. And all I'm saying now is thank goodness I didn't pick the Giants. I'm not surprised the Eagles won. I thought they would win. I'm surprised by how much they won by.
Yeah.
A lot of people were picking the Giants in this game. Kind of, in my opinion, surprisingly. But there was the narrative that the Eagles had just owned the Giants all season long. And that narrative was proven for a third game. This game was over at halftime. And to be honest, I barely watched the second half. In fact, I really didn't, because Luke was celebrating his birthday the next day. Happy belated birthday, Luke.
Yes, happy belated birthday,
Thank you,
Luke.
gentlemen.
You're welcome. The night of that game, at the second half, my dad and I were wrapping your birthday gifts, and I did not watch the second half. And guess what? I didn't need to watch it because I knew what already was going to happen. This game was over at halftime. It was by far the most boring game of the divisional round. And that's no hate to the Giants. Again, kind of like the Jaguars, very good season. Shouldn't hang your head low from it because you have your coach for a while, which is something Giants fans aren't used to saying. And you might have your quarterback. I'm sure Daniel Jones is going to get an extension as a result of this season, and he should. But Philly, I mean, there's really no surprise the Eagles won. They needed that because lately it's just been kind of questionable for the Eagles. People were like, okay, this team struggled at the end of the season. Are they really the best team in the NFL? Philly needed that game to just go out and dominate and kind of reset their mentality and focus for the rest of the season. Because now they have their toughest test in the 49ers, and they're going to need to be all hands on deck for that game, for sure. So, you guys can give your thoughts, too.
Might I say, and this is why I think that I would not be surprised if the Eagles went to the Super Bowl and won it, because they did what I thought the Niners would do against the Cowboys. They did what I thought the Chiefs would do against the Jaguars. They did what I thought the Bengals would do against the Ravens. They just went out there and had no mercy on their opponent.
That's what I'm saying.
They
man.
pummeled them. Nick Sirianni did not. I don't know the right way to say it, but he did not hold. Yeah, he did not hold back at all. They destroyed them.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like, I mean, the Bengals, they only put up 27 points. They probably could have snuck another touchdown in there. The Chiefs, they just kind of, they skid by a little bit. The Niners, they didn't dominate their game at all. The Cowboys put up a tough test. The Eagles destroyed the Giants. And I'm not sure if that says more about the Eagles or more about the Giants. Maybe the Giants just weren't prepared like we thought they were. Maybe the Vikings just weren't that formidable of an opponent after all. Or maybe the Eagles are just that good. And I really do think that they're just that good. I'm only picking the Niners because I think their defense is substantially better. And the Eagles' explosiveness may come back to bite them. They may have a turnover or two. But I wouldn't be surprised if this team wins the Super Bowl. Because I think they want it more than anybody else. And I think that embodies the spirit of Philadelphia fans. So I was very, very impressed. Even though, like Adam said, I honestly, I barely watched it. But I was shocked to see the final score.
Going back to what you said about the Niners defense and how the Cowboys only put up 12 points against them. I mean, it's still very impressive to put up 38 points against a professional football team.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we don't see many teams score above 35 points besides like the Bills, the Chiefs, the Bengals, the rest of the teams that are left. And the Eagles deserve to be here.
Especially in the playoffs.
Especially in the playoffs. They're playing the best of the best teams. I know it's the Giants and we clown them, but still, like, come on. 38 points. And then for their defense to step up against a really, heated up Daniel Jones. Like, he's been absolutely dominating.
Yeah, say what you want about Daniel Jones and the Giants' offense, and say what you want about them, and maybe they weren't as great as we all thought they were, but they had just knocked out the number 3 seed. They just knocked out a 12-5 or 13-14.
Shows how overrated the Vikings were.
Yeah, it definitely shows that. But the Giants were riding high, and they were playing really safe, clean, efficient football. But they just ran into a brick wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Adam, you already added into this game?
Which game?
Eagles. So
Yeah.
next one.
Yeah. Well, do we want to save Bengals Bills for last? Because I know you guys have tons of thoughts on that.
I really don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's just talk about that real quick. All I'm going to say for that game is I myself am shocked that it was as much of a blowout as it was. I thought this game was going to be like the 49ers game, where it was it came right down to the wire, last possession could depend on the outcome of the game. I thought it was going to be like that. The Bengals controlled the day. They played the better football. Buffalo just didn't have an answer, not only for the team, but for the Bengals fans. Like Luke said, Houday chants crowded, what's Buffalo Stadium? Highmark Stadium all day long. And that's not something you usually see. Because Bills Mafia is one of the strongest fan bases in all of the National Football League. That's not something you usually see, that they get out-cheered, I guess is the way to say it. But I kind of knew for a fact going into that game, Joe Burrow and that winning mentality he has, he was just going to get it done no matter how it had to be done. And Josh Allen, I mean, good season. I kind of saw some things I wasn't a fan of in the game. Like, he was overthrowing Stephon Diggs a ton. This season, I think if you clean up the overthrowing, maybe being careless running with the football, like the fumbles, like, I don't know, putting your body on the line literally every time you run and slide. Like, do it in a more clean way, and you might be a top 2 quarterback. I mean, I have him number 3, but he might be above Burrow next year. We'll see.
I mean, obviously, put your body on the line for the squad. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But it gets to the point where it's annoying.
Yeah.
It gets to the point where it's over the top and unnecessary.
Right.
I love Josh Allen. Luke, I know you don't like to hear that because
That's all right.
Josh Allen is he's
a
what
cool guy.
yeah, Josh Allen and like AJ Brown and like Terry McLaurin are like those are probably my three favorite non-Steelers in the league. I love AJ Brown. I love AJ Brown so much. He's one of my favorites. But like, you got to look at your favorite players sometimes and be like, you're acting like an idiot and you're not playing the best football you could be, you know? And you got to give some respect to your enemies, you know, Joe Burrow and the Bengals. As a Steeler fan, obviously I don't want them to succeed, but as a football fan, they are so fun to watch.
Oh, yeah.
They're such a fun team to watch. Sick uniforms, sick-ass uniforms, sick-ass players. You know, I love watching Jamar Chase. I love watching Joe Burrow. I love Joe Mixon. And, yeah, just a really fun team to watch. And plus Mike Hilton, who left us for the Bengals, but he's still a beast. Anyway, those are my thoughts.
Yeah. So, quick thoughts. Beside the obvious. So you said, like, Adam, the overthrowing and the sloppy play. The issue with that isn't that it's happening. It's that it's a regression, and that it can be clearly seen on paper. It's because Brian Daboll left, because he immediately cleaned up Daniel Jones' play, and Josh Allen is becoming more careless.
Oh, yeah, can I clarify one thing? I no longer want Ken Dorsey for Panthers head coach. Like, that, after Sunday's game, that's just completely out the window. No. And it's going to be the same for Kellen Moore, who's interviewing more with us. More, no pun intended. When we get to that game, yeah, I don't want him as our coach either. Thanks.
Hey, I still want Tremaine Edmonds.
Well, yeah, that's fine. He's a good player. I'm just talking from coaches.
Yeah.
Speaking of coaches, I mean, Sean McDermott, good coach, but
Yeah, so that's another thing.
does Buffalo need to go in a different direction? I don't think
I'm
they
not
do.
sure
I
they
don't think
need
so.
to go in a different direction, but when it comes to Sean McDermott, all right, he's a defensive-minded head coach. He was the only defensive-minded head coach left last week, and that really says something about the NFL. There are none left, and now it's moving in that direction. He's a good coach, but when they get down by a lot of points, especially in the playoffs, he just doesn't have the offensive creativity to bring them back from those deficits. So that says something about him. And I was going to say real quick, I mean, Stephon Diggs, what are you doing? You just disappear in big games every single year since that Chiefs photo op was taken. I think it was 2 catches on 8 targets for like 18 yards. Eli Apple covered you for 2 targets, 0 catches. You gotta get more open. You gotta help your quarterback more than that. And Josh Allen, he's playing careless as usual. I hate to say I saw this coming, but I'll make a toast to myself and say that I saw this coming. So,
I think that's the show, right?
I mean, Cowboys, Eagles, but I think we all just it can be summed up in just saying, how about them Cowboys?
I personally
Every
think
year.
I think the Cowboys need to make a run at Sean Payton. I mean, with that team who's in Super Bowl contention every single year, I don't think Mike McCarthy's the guy that's going to get you there. I think they need to make a run at Payton because, I mean, obviously he's Sean Payton. Why would you not? But they've their window is kind of closed with McCarthy, and well, this roster is built to win. They need a coach that will help them win, and Payton is a coach that will help you win. So, yeah, I think they should go for him. And if Dan Quinn is truly going to leave to be a coach somewhere else, I've heard Vic Fangio is a big name that'll come as a defensive coordinator with Sean Payton. Boom, you got your defensive coordinator replacement right there. So, I mean, I have a feeling they'll have Kellen Moore again next year because I don't know why people would hire him right now. No hate to him. I just don't think he's really fit to be a coach right now. But, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the Cowboys. And go Niners.
All right, I think that does cover it.
Yep. All right.
All right, good short-ish episode. Adam and I have class in 3 minutes. So
We got to get going. All right, it's been Adam
Dante?
and
Luke.
we will see you next week. Thank you.